One of the interesting questions which to some extent we're only now getting the answers about is how the virus spreads within populations, and this is a particular issue in a hospital setting where obviously you may have patients or indeed members of staff who may not have any symptoms at the time but are in the early stages of being positive for the disease. And what we clearly want to do is to slow down the rate of transmission of that virus to other people. So one of the most useful things that you can do to help measure how a virus spreads within a population is to undertake sequencing of the genome of the virus, because different strains of the virus will have different variants within their genome, and so you can identify where that virus potentially arose from. So for example, if an individual has one particular variant and somebody else who they've been in contact with has a different variant, that would suggest that the transmission of that virus wasn't between the two individuals. But if the sequence of the virus was the same in both individuals, that would tell you that it was likely that the transmission had happened from person to person. And when you're trying to develop strategies to prevent virus spread, it's very important to be able to do these molecular epidemiology studies so that one can really understand the transmission of the virus within a given setting. So for example, you can have what are called super spreader events where lots of people are exposed to the virus at the same point in time. This might be, for example, in a community event where lots of people are present where social distancing is difficult. And so those super spreading events can be identified because all the individuals who pick up the virus will have the same strain. Equally well, you can sometimes identify situations where the opposite is true. So one example of that we've seen in the University of Nottingham, where we had what looked like multiple events where people brought different strains of the virus onto the campus at the beginning of term. And obviously understanding how those different strains of the virus have spread amongst different people helps you in coming up with sensible strategies to prevent spread.